you have to leave a little bit in the tank because you can get a video that just pops off like crazy and it starts to really go. And if you run out of stock, you're killing your momentum. TikTok Shop's 100% momentum game.
Welcome back to the High Voltage Business Builder podcast. I have a guest here today that I connected with over, I was going to say Twitter, but it's X now. So I can't I guess we have to get used to calling it X, who is a mutual friend of a friend. And we were both in the e-commerce space and got connected through that, had a conversation and got to realize that there's some synergies and connections in this. And I said, hey, why don't you come on and tell the world a little bit more about what you're doing, tell my audience, because I think they're going to want to hear specifically around the area of TikTok shops. So that's kind of the focus of this conversation, folks. If you are involved in a brand or not in a brand, if you're on Amazon and Shopify, but not on TikTok shops, I think you're going to want to do something with that after listening to this call today. That's my opinion. What's your opinion, Zane?
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think a lot of your audience is on Amazon. Amazon's been a great opportunity the last several years. TikTok Shop, I think, is shaping up for that too. They're doing a lot of product subsidies. They're really, spending a lot of money trying to get sellers on the platform. It's a little bit easier right now because there's just not as much competition as Amazon, as Meta Ads, as Shopify. So I think definitely a lot of your audience who are already killers at Amazon have an e-commerce experience. I think they'll really like what they see when they get onboarded to TikTok Shop.
Which platform did you cut your teeth on? Where did you get started?
Really, Meta was the only thing that we ran heavily. We just ran Meta Ads 3-4 years of that. So Shopify plus Meta Ads. And then just recently I've been on TikTok Shop. I haven't really messed too much on Amazon and some of the other platforms.
When you got started, was this your background? Did you just jump into ads and Shopify? Were you doing something else? Or is this basically, have you been in e-commerce the entire time?
Yeah, kind of a funny story. Like I started off, I was just in college. I was going into the consulting route. I had an offer with Deloitte Strategy and Operations and their headquarters in New York. I was really excited about that. I had a friend who had a friend that was doing e-commerce. He was mainly doing drop shipping. And he was like, hey, man, when you start at your job in New York, like you're going to be completely broke. Like whatever they're paying you, it's probably not going to be enough your first year. So why don't, try this out with me, try running some drop shipping stores and like make some extra money, get your savings up. And I was like, okay, cool. So we did that for like half a semester. It started to show some promise. Kept it up during the summer. Still was thinking that, hey, I'm going to start work after the summer. And then started doing really well. We started doing a lot of revenue. We made a lot of mistakes, so we didn't really make any profit. But I was like, okay, there's something here. So I pushed off my job offer, deferred it by 6 months. They were cool with that. 6 months went by. It started to do even better. Hit them up again. I was like, hey, I kind of want to see this thing through. And they were like, we have our own needs. We need you to start. So at that point, I just had to back out of the offer and went to doing this full time. My partner, now doing it with my wife. Been about like 4 or 5 years now. That's been really great. Like no regrets. I definitely think going this route and kind of doing my own thing. In the back of my mind, I was like, if it doesn't work out, I can always go and get a job.
Right. Fall back. Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, been pretty happy with it.
Very cool story, man. So decided to turn down the job and went and become a full-time entrepreneur, huh? That must have been a little bit of a, I mean, your friend did something very generous, which is very cool, offering you to come on and help and get that started. That was very cool. A very good relationship. But so Shopify, Meta Ads primarily. Did you drop ship from the United States and then move into your own brands? Is that kind of how the transition went? Or are you still in the drop shipping mode or?
Even worse than that, we were drop shipping off AliExpress and just the worst business model probably you can have in e-commerce.
Yeah, drop ship, yeah.
Exactly. Made a lot of mistakes, had a lot of customers that weren't too happy. Eventually started learning like, hey, this is not going to work long term. Starting to doing more private label. And that's mainly what we're doing now. And now we're shifting into just building a brand from scratch, patents, trademarks, the whole thing, designing it ourselves. So we've kind of been doing it in stages. I think drop shipping, people love to hate on it. It is not a great model if you're not really concerned with quality, but it's a great way to kind of learn ads. Like there's nothing to differentiate you and anybody else besides the ads that you're on. So we learned a lot there and then kind of just kept leveling up. Like, okay, let's do private label. That's going to take a little bit more cash flow. It's going to take a little bit more investment, but now we have money from the profits we made from drop shipping. And then just constantly leveling up from there. When things started to stagnate, we're like, okay, time to take it to the next level.
Well, it's smart that you pivoted. A lot of people didn't, and I know they kind of got going pretty well and then bailed out of it because they simply wouldn't pivot to the private label side. So good on you for doing that. But let's get to the elephant question that some on here might be listening. Is TikTok going to get shut down? Is the congressional thing like, let's just get the elephant in the room? Because I know some people are on here going, well, do I invest time and energy and money into TikTok if they're just going to get shut down, right? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, what's funny is like by the time this podcast airs, like maybe it'll be shut down and I'll be eating my words. But
That might
I
happen.
mean, I mean today, the where we stand, like a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, it seemed imminent. It was like, oh, the bill's about to hit Biden's desk. He's going to sign it. Since then, it's kind of died down. I mean, maybe it'll happen, but also at the same time, I think a business that's big with as many creators on it, maybe they'll try to get a U.S. company to buy it or take it over. Regardless, I'm just keeping my focus on what I can actually control. Can't really control what happens there. But all I know is that on a daily basis, we're doing well here. It's making money. It has a positive halo effect. All of the content that we're getting from creators, we can then repurpose to Meta or whatever platform takes over. If Instagram decides to do Instagram Shop, well, I mean, they have it, but it's not very good. But if they start to really put effort into it, very easy to take our learnings and go there. At the end of the day, it's cash flow positive. We're learning a lot, and it's the same type of creatives that you would run elsewhere. So I don't think that's a real downside to investing a little bit of time learning it.
Opening those additional channels for sure. We always want to open additional channels in e-com. I always talk about that a lot, and I know you extol that same value. Got to have multiple channels of opportunity. And are you seeing a lot of crossover backwards from anything you're doing on TikTok to Shopify? Did you get a lift there when you started seeing your Shopify account go up?
Not really. Like we've always seen a halo effect. Like when we did Meta ads, we would see like a little bit of pickup on TikTok, or a ton of people see that halo effect on the Amazon because people who like Amazon, they want their 2-day shipping. They're going to go Google for your brand. They're going to buy it there. We have not really seen a lift on Shopify. I think because TikTok Shop is kind of its own beast. Like it's really trying to keep people on the platform. It's like, hey, here's the link, like right in the corner, tap it, buy it on platform. You don't go anywhere else. People are kind of scrolling on TikTok. They want to keep them on TikTok. And I think that works pretty well. Like people who see it, they don't seem to be searching for us off of TikTok. They're like, oh, I see it here. The reviews are here. I know if they have experience on the platform, they know how strict TikTok is with shipping and all those quality measures. They know it's super easy to get a refund. It's kind of like Amazon. I think they'd rather buy it on our TikTok shop than buy it on their website, knowing that on our website, it might be a little bit more difficult to get a refund or whatever they want.
We're seeing that spill over in some instances up to 25% in the halo effect over to Amazon. So maybe it's the search engine, the traffic, or the buyer intent, and maybe the psychology of the buyer is a little closer between the two platforms. Still trying to kind of maybe ask you that question. What do you think in terms of buyer type? Is it similar to Amazon that it is on TikTok Shop? Is that some of your experience too?
The buyer type is super interesting because when we first started, people were like, hey, it's not going to work if your product's more than $30. Our product is $60, the one that we ran. And we're like, okay, well, let's give it a shot. Since then, I mean, I bought something on TikTok Shop. The first thing I bought, it was $160. And I've seen products that are more, I think I had a few thousand orders. I've seen products that are more expensive getting purchased. So I don't know if there's a stereotypical kind of customer because nowadays, I mean, my wife's grandparents are on TikTok. Like everybody kind of on TikTok.
Demographic is changing, isn't it?
Right. And the algorithm is targeting whoever it needs to target that it thinks will purchase. So there's not, like, obviously cheaper products are doing better, like especially in clothing and things like that, where it's kind of commoditized with Shein. It's like people are not going to spend $65 for a hoodie when they can probably get the same one for $12 from some Chinese seller that's on TikTok Shop. That's definitely a thing. But then brands that are very well branded, like they don't seem like a dropship product. They don't seem like it's just being repackaged from China. Those brands are crushing it still, even at price points that are a little bit higher. And then you got to keep in account, like, they're giving new customers 30% off. At one point, they were funding a 50% off. They never even told me. I almost ran out of stock. They were funding 50% off. So I had a product that was $60 and new customers were getting it for $30. On my website, $60. Everywhere else is $60. So as you can imagine,
Big incentive.
Right. It's tough not to do well if you're getting sales at a $30 retail price when normally it's $60. It's so incredibly subsidized.
I would assume you're pouring more of those profits back into ads, right? When it started buying ads.
Yeah, we run so I would say like out of our revenue, 20% of it is TikTok Shop ads. We're just taking our ads from Meta and we're taking those creatives, we're uploading it to TikTok profiles. So we're just creating an organic post because it can honestly take off organically. I have a friend that's doing a ton of revenue just on an organic post. They're posting it and they're linking a TikTok Shop product. So you do that, give it a few days, see if it takes off. And then you take that ad and you run it as like a Spark ad. And Spark ad is basically an existing post that you're running as an ad. So 25% of our revenue comes from ads, but the majority of it is coming from affiliates. And that's like the real secret sauce for TikTok Shop is that you can send the affiliates a sample. They post, they get a commission. Your only upfront cost is the cost of the samples. You send out 100 samples, maybe 80 are duds. They don't even get a sale. Maybe some of them get a few sales, but then you'll get that one or two out of 100 that just go bonkers. They go viral. They get millions of views. It pays for all the sample requests that you sent that didn't go anywhere and then some. And so we spent probably sunk like 20,000 in COGS and sending sample requests to break until we broke even. And then after that, like we have a video that's been running for 2 months, and every day it's getting a few thousand in sales, all organically. And we're giving the affiliate 20% commission. So the equivalent is 5x ROAS. So once you get that turning, you're not super interested in the ads. And of course, we'll still run them. If we're getting a 3x ROAS, we'll run them. But our affiliate side, if we're paying them a 20% commission, it's like getting a 5x ROAS. And that's really where the magic is right now.
Pretty cool, pretty unique having that much affiliate traffic coming through a system like that platform. I got to assume at some point, and maybe you'd agree or disagree, that Meta and some of that, maybe Instagram has got to catch up and do something very similar.
Yeah. And I think where Instagram didn't execute as well as TikTok did is that the affiliate system is so well done where it tracks when you send the samples. Like you send them a message, and we use a bot to send them a bunch of messages like, hey, here's our product. We'll give you a 20% commission if you just post a video, and I'll send you the product for free. The ones that agree to do it, they send you what's called a sample request. They're like, hey, I want a sample. You can approve it or disapprove it. And TikTok will show you all their stats. They'll show you how much sales they made in the last 30 days. They'll show you what their average view count is. They'll show you their profile. They'll show you products that they've done well on. They'll even show you their fulfillment rate. If someone sent them a sample, what percentage of the time do they actually post? And anyone who's done influencers before knows that if you're talking to someone with 100,000, a million followers on Instagram, you might send them a thing and like be hounding them for a month and then never post. Like, oh, thanks for the free product. Yeah. What are you going to do about it? But they have all these metrics. So now in affiliates, it's going to post the product. Maybe it'll be kind of half-baked video, but they're going to post it. Otherwise, their fulfillment rate's going to go down, and no other brand is going to want to use them in the future. So the way they executed it, where it's just, okay, every affiliate, you can get a clear breakdown of how well they're doing, get a clear breakdown if they're actually going to post a video once you send them the sample. And if they don't, no brand's going to work with them. And I think that's where the magic is. Versus on Instagram, they have Instagram Shop, but like there's no streamlined process for affiliates. And people ask me sometimes, they're like, hey, if someone messages you and they're at a sample request and they just want to send you the address, will you send them the product? They got 1 million followers. Like, nope, I won't actually.
Let the system do the tracking and accountability.
Exactly. If I send that out and our COGS are $15, $20, we do that to 10 people in a day, and 3 or 4 of them don't post, and we're paying a VA to follow up with them and hound them, and versus we've got 60 sample requests coming in per day, and some of those people will definitely post because they have 100% fulfillment rate and they don't want to lose that. And we only approve anyone with 80% or higher. So it's just, I could spend all my time and energy trying to track and hound those people down versus I have some people that the data shows are very consistent, are killers, have 100,000 in sales that they grow for another brand. I'm much more interested in working with them.
Oh yeah. It's amazing data, how much they've actually given up to the shop owners to go inside. And guys, what he's talking about is when you get in there and you look at the affiliate, it actually shows you the metrics, their gross measure volume, how much their fulfillment rate is, which basically means how many times have they actually completed the video in the system, because they have a time window. It's anywhere between like 5 to 7 days after they get the product, or 3 to 5 days, I forget.
I think they give them they give them like up to 2 weeks from the day of the delivery, I believe. It might have changed, but most of them will post within that 5 to 7 days because they want to post it, so then their sample request opens up.
They want the higher request and the sample request plus they want to make some money. There's a big incentive behind those guys, right? I mean, once they make that video and they're done, they're just continuing to make affiliate sales. On the creator side, it's great because once they get a few of these streams going up, they can be doing pretty well, can't they?
Absolutely. And you can see, like you're saying, they're being very transparent with the data. So you see an affiliate and it says 100,000 GMV the last 30. There's no faking that because the data is coming from TikTok Shop.
Right. They're not fake accounts.
And you can see the product and you can see the commission rate on the product. So I can show you people on my sample requests 100,000 in the last 30 days. I've seen some as high as 200, 300,000. Now do the math. They're getting 20% on that. If it's 100,000, they make 20 grand in the last month. Some of them are quitting their full-time jobs because it's like they're making 20 grand a month. And that was when they were doing it part-time. Now, and as they go from 5 sample requests to then TikTok, I think gives them like 10, 20, something like that. So if they're just posting 3 products a day and then doubling down on the ones that get traction for them, some of them are making ridiculous amounts of money, and the brands are too. Like the brands aren't complaining because they're paying you 20% commission. They're getting like a 5x ROAS. The way Meta has been these last couple of months, depending on who you talk to. But some people are struggling to get a 2-3x ROAS. So it's like, it's an everybody win system, which is why it's doing so well. The creators are winning. The brands are winning. TikTok is losing some money right now, but they're going to raise their fees. Eventually they're going to be winning. Everybody's happy.
It's a fascinating system because I went into the creator side for just a little while and started making some just dumb videos, not thinking anything was going to pop off. And pretty soon I'm making about $1,500 a month on videos that I didn't even think were going to be doing much at all. And I'm like, that was really stupid simple. Then I got a couple of violations. My account got slammed. So there is a whole violation policy between upload content and shops, isn't there?
The violation policy is crazy, not only for the creators, for the stores as well. And it's great that they're doing it because it keeps the quality on the platform very high and customers are going to be happy. But if you do not ship a product within 2 business days of getting an order, and you do that for more than 5% of your orders that week, you're getting hit with points. If you get more than 0.5% of your orders get a 1 or 2 star review or negative review, you're going to get hit with points. There's all these different ways you're going to get hit with points. You get too many points. And it's like you get hit with order caps. Eventually you get shut down. So they're being very strict. I mean, Amazon, of course, is strict as well. But compared to Shopify, where it's like, okay, Shopify, they might hold your payments if you start getting too many chargebacks. But besides that, the whole thing's your wheelhouse. Like if you want to tell customers like, hey, sorry, we sold you this product, but it was actually on back order, like we're going to ship it on next week. You can do that. On TikTok Shop, it's like, you're done. You do that once.
You got to be more strict to the platform, which sounds a lot like the FBA rules and stuff we have to buy on Amazon. Only Amazon ships the product for us on most of the FBA, as opposed to FBM or fulfilled by merchant, where we ship it ourselves, in which the same requirement is there. You got to get it out the door by 2 days. You got to get the tracking number back in the system, and you have to follow those metrics or your account health gets dinged. So, I mean, it's very similar to that because Shopify and it does not have its own fulfillment anymore. They tried it for a little bit, if I remember right, and it kind of crashed and burned. And then TikTok Shop has talked a lot about trying to make their own fulfillment. I don't think they've pulled it off anywhere I've seen yet. So you do have to ship your own product, and it all has to be US based, correct?
Yep. You have to ship it yourself. It has to be US based. They have like a TikTok shipping option, which is basically right now, it's just you print the labels, they're USPS labels, and like TikTok's giving you the labels. That's all it is. There has been, and like this is still very down low. They've hit up some sellers that are pretty high up in GMV about it, but there's an FBT system coming fulfilled by TikTok. It has a decent rate card. It's kind of similar to FBA where you can't get dinged on logistics violations anymore because they're handling the fulfillment, so it's out of your hands. They've been starting to push that a little bit. There's been webinars. They're trying to get people onboarded. I'm trying to let somebody else do it first and see what happens. I think they're using like ShipBad.
That is a mechanism that is just quite a miracle, frankly, in terms of Amazon's logistics and confusion. I could see how TikTok would probably I would want to walk before I run into anything that delivers that product and deals with that system. It's cool. FBT, I like it. They're going to borrow the FBA thing. They're basically going to see if they can't clone a little FBA model.
Definitely. And I think that's going to be a game changer as well on the platform, because right now it's just you connect it to your Shopify, you fulfill it like normal. But then once FBT starts taking off, and the difference between FBA and FBM sometimes with the rankings and what they're willing to do for you. So I think eventually they're going to push you to use their fulfillment. Then it starts off cheap, starts to get more expensive. I've been hearing things about Amazon charge you if you have too little stock, you have too much stock. I'm sure all that stuff is gonna come one day, but right now they're being very generous. The pick and pack fees are $0. Whatever they can do to get you in the door. Exactly.
So on the FBI side, what we'll do is MCF, or what's called multi-channel fulfill. So if we have a TikTok Shop order, we just go to Amazon and hit boom, and Amazon ships it out like a 3PL would. So, gotcha. And there's integrations in the shop inside of TikTok shops now where you can integrate straight through any orders that can pass over to Amazon. So for those of you who are on Amazon and have products that are selling well and you wonder, can I get on shops and how do I fulfill? Just go into the connection of the integration section and have it connect directly to your Amazon account. It will do a multi-channel fulfillment for you. So if you're a US-based Amazon seller, it's really easy. You should get your products in there and give them a test. I guess the question then begs, what products do well and what don't do well on TikTok Shop so far in your experience?
Yeah, I think you have to test just like every platform. It can surprise you. I think one thing that I would look at is like price. Like if you have something that's lower price, that's kind of your foot in the door product, your lead magnet or whatever you want to call it, something that's like $20, $30, start with that before you start with anything that's too high. And then also try just searching on TikTok. Like if it's something that, people aren't really selling on TikTok Shop, if it's wide open right now, like the SEO is not too big on TikTok Shop. but they're trying to push for that. And I've heard of some people just looking at keywords and search terms and be like, oh, like there's nothing like this on the platform. So let me just put on the platform and they start getting organic sales. So just do your research and test. And if you have something that's doing really well on Amazon, that's kind of a product that like if you were to give to someone, they can make a video and it's not difficult to make a video on. That's the type of product that could do really well with affiliates.
Now you went back to the affiliate side for just a second. So let's unpack that just a little bit deeper. When you said up to 100 people, 80 will probably post, but maybe get no sales or a little bit of sales. And then 20 of those people, one of them will probably pop off. So it's about a 1 to 100 ratio, which means you have to connect to roughly how many affiliates do you need to connect with?
No, it's 100% a numbers game. I've had some people come to me and they're like, oh man, affiliate's not working for me. And I was like, okay, cool. So how many people have you messaged or how many people have posted? And I'll be like 5 people, 10 people. Well, that's nowhere near enough. So every day, if you're using a bot, and there's like a couple bots on the market and they'll range between, maybe they're sending 2,000 to 3,000 messages, depending on how quick they are. They're doing that 24/7. And obviously it depends on your product. If it's a product that's really in demand, if it's an expensive product, of course your rate's going to be a little bit higher. If you have a ton of reviews, ton of orders, a lot of these affiliates are looking for products that already have momentum. Because kind of how it works is that if they post a video and there's already a viral video, and you've seen this if you've been on TikTok Shop, it's like if you tap on a product and you seem interested in it, later that day or the next day, they're going to show you a different video for that product by a different creator. Mm-hmm. So if I'm a creator and there's like 5 videos already going viral for a product and I post one and it does pretty well, and then TikTok starts using that as a retarget, and then I start getting 5, 10 orders a day because the other viral videos are getting 100, 200, and I'm being used as a retarget sometimes. That's amazing. Versus if it's a brand new product and I have to be the one that's top of funnel, I have to be the one that goes viral and starts getting orders. Well, that's a lot more typical. So they're looking for products that already have traction. And now we're getting around 60 sample requests a day by messaging 3,000 people. In the beginning, maybe we would get 10, 15, and they wouldn't be that great of affiliates. But in the beginning, we wanted to build momentum. So if you had more than 80% fulfillment rate, we're sending you the sample. Now we're a lot more selective.
Yeah, but you spent up to like, okay, just look at the ROI of that. You spent up to 20,000 in sample product give outs, and then relatively quickly recouped that 20,000 with videos that are still making you thousands a day. What does that translated into your business, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, no. So if you look at the numbers, it's like 20,000 that we sent in sample requests until we started breaking even. And now you got to keep in mind the time factor. I got to ship it to them. That takes 3 to 5 days. They then have 2 weeks to post. They post. Maybe the first day it catches, but sometimes the algorithm takes a while. Maybe it takes 3 to 5 days before it starts to even really get any views or sales. So you're talking, from when you start, you're not going to get any traction for at least a month. By like 1 or 2 months, you start to get traction. So now we're doing about 200K a month in sales on this product at a crazy high margin because we're giving 20% commission and it's already a pretty high margin product. So now on a daily basis, when we send out those samples, those are negligible for us at this point. And we're also a lot more selective. Out of the 60 people that we get, maybe we send out 10 a day. So it's really not big in the grand scheme of things, especially since the commission rate is 20%. Even if 1 out of 3 of them make a sale, it's like you're kind of breaking even on them. And then, like you said, the 1 to 2, maybe up to 5 out of 100, it depends on your product price. The ones that really take off, they pay for all your duds and more.
Yeah. See, and if I heard you correctly, update the 80% roughly, if I heard you correctly, let me state this and then tell me if I'm wrong, of that 200K is coming from affiliates and about 20 or so percent of that is coming from paid traffic?
Yeah, something around there. It depends on the day, but it's like most of it is definitely affiliates because TikTok, if anyone's run TikTok ads before, they can do really well, but it's kind of tough to scale compared to Meta ads. Like once you hit a few thousand a day in spend, it starts to kind of die off. I think it's not as good as Meta ad, like kind of spidering and finding different pockets. Like it's hitting one pocket and then it kind of exhausts that. So we would be able to get to maybe 1,500, 1,750 a day in ad spend. Couldn't really crack more than that without the ROAS starting to drop. And then also at the same time, we're kind of running into some inventory issues. It's like either I can get 3x ROAS on the ads, or I can save some of that inventory for the affiliates who I'm paying a 20% commission to compared to the 33% for the ROAS. So it's like, okay, I'm not really going to scale those ads. Especially because you have to leave a little bit in the tank because you can get a video that just pops off like crazy and it starts to really go. And if you run out of stock, you're killing your momentum. TikTok Shop's 100% momentum game. The affiliate's going to be annoyed with you. You're going to be annoyed at yourself. You ran out of stock. Then as soon as you get back in stock, it's like your momentum's died, or that viral video has already died because it stopped going after you ran out of product. So you really have to keep some inventory in reserve to make sure that doesn't happen. And that's something that we learned early on. We were just DHLing air, shipping ourselves inventory to keep ourselves from going out of stock. So you really have to forecast and make sure that you have some of these left over. So you're not trying to push your ads to the absolute max. You're trying to keep them in a place where you're getting a really good ROAS that you're happy with. Keep the spend there. Make sure that when your affiliate posts, there's plenty of inventory, and they're going to want to post again after that because they know you're the type of brand that's going to stay in stock.
Yeah, well, staying in stock once you have a good video that pops off is important for the creator. And obviously a challenge when you're at 80% organic with so much growth. It really has become a brand discovery platform, but you've had some other luck along the way too. Haven't you? A few people that maybe some celebrity influencers and stuff popped on because they're seeing these kinds of products.
We had one video that this is the one I was talking about that was like 2 months old. It was doing really well, and then it started to slow down a bit. And then it randomly picked up, and we're like, wow, that's awesome. Like, I don't know why it picked up, but like loving it. And then I had a friend that knows our brand, and he saw the video and he's like, man, it's crazy that Paris Hilton comments on the video. I was like, what? Paris Hilton commented on it. Then he sent us the video, and sure enough, there's a comment on it. And we were just trying to keep our head above water. So
no kidding.
We never noticed. But as soon as she commented on it, of course, people who follow her, they're going to start seeing the stuff that she's engaging with. And then if celebrity says like, hey, I bought this product, that's social proof you could get. So we haven't done anything with it. People are telling us like, oh, you should run that as an ad. We're like, well, we're not trying to get sued out here. We hit her up, asked her if she liked it. She didn't respond. But that's the kind of thing that like, once you start going viral, you're getting millions of views. Everybody's on the platform. You could luck out, and that could happen. Even without something like that happening. I mean, today it's an amazing platform.
So many other opportunities. And there's not many other platforms like that where organic traffic can reach that level in volume. And we jokingly talked in the green room a minute ago about Etsy. That's not really the place. Amazon can certainly do it now, especially if you do your organic side right. But even now, certain components of Amazon are forcing for paid, positioning within the market, within the keyword, et cetera. So organic is taking a hit in some locations. But it's not quite taking a hit on TikTok. Is it? Organic is really the name of the game if you're going to get involved in this.
Yeah, it's crazy. I think every platform kind of does that, where it's like at the beginning, it's like organic. Creators come here, be creative. You're going to get millions of views. And then eventually they start on the value extraction route, where it's like, okay, the platform's huge now. Like if you want anybody to see this, do you even want, like you have 1 million fans, we're going to show it to like a few thousand. And if you want more to see it, running as an ad, like give us some more money. Right. It's going to get
now it's time, right? Like if you're going to get involved, you better get in now while they're getting it good, right? It's kind of a little Wild West activity.
Yep. And you're already seeing it because this starting April 1st, the rates went up to 6%. Before, TikTok was charging 2% plus 30 cents, which is what Shopify charges. Sure. They make a little bit on that because it's just like through payment processing. But now it's up to 6%. Come, I think July 1st, it goes up to 8%. And then you've seen with certain Amazon category, those are like at 14, 15%.
Yeah.
So before those rates start to go up and they, subsidies start getting cut back, now's the time to get on and get that momentum so that you're not trying to get that momentum when those big brands are already crushing it and rolling. Yeah. So really, I tell everyone that as well. It's like, take the free money when they're giving it to you. Like, even if it might not be there tomorrow, like, what does it matter? Like, you're trying to have a good P&L at the end of the year. And if your meta ads aren't doing well, you can either bash your head against the wall and try 100 things and try to get them to work when it's a platform issue. Or you can just move to TikTok Shop, have them pay 30% of your customer's order, have them pay for your customer shipping. Meanwhile, you get all of it and just go where the money is.
Yeah, dude. Well said. Well said. Kind of wrapping up here. Is there any question that I didn't ask you that you wanted to say something about, or a topic I didn't get to yet?
I think you asked some really good questions. I can definitely tell that you are already playing around with the platform and seeing some of that success. I think that was really cool what you were saying about the multi-channel fulfillment, where you can just fulfill out of your normal Amazon store. I think that's really cool. And the way you outlined it is kind of, you don't really have an excuse not to try it. If you don't have to worry about your 3PL, you don't have to worry about the product. You can sync the product over. It's just the last thing I'd say, just try it out. If after a month or two, you're not seeing any traction, you can hop off. It takes maybe a couple hours to set up, maybe an hour or two to run. It's something that whoever's running your platforms right now, your media buyer can easily run TikTok shops. It's basically the same as Meta. It's very simple setup.
Good stuff, man. Last question. I don't have access to Paris Hilton, so I can't introduce you to her. But if there's someone I could introduce you to that's in my power, in my network, who would it be? If you sit down and have lunch, have a question, pick their brain, who would that person be?
Oh man, that's a good question. I'll have to look through your Rolodex a bit and probably get back to you. I think the people in general that I'm most interested in talking to and that I've kind of enjoyed talking to when I've been kind of tweeting and other things that have helped these connections happen is like I just love talking to other brand owners. There's agencies, there's people who sell courses. Of course, they have to really market themselves. It's a competitive landscape. But when you're talking to other brand owners, it's just like it's somebody that's also out there chopping wood and like with all the problems that are going on. They don't really have an incentive to kind of exaggerate things unless they're eventually trying to sell a course. But for the most part, it's just they'll tell you how it is. They're like, hey, I'm getting screwed on Meta. TikTok shop is starting to pick up for me. Amazon's been nice. It's very refreshing. So I think those are the types of people that I always love coming across. It's like other brand owners. Those people will tell you straight up what's working, what's not working.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what's working today. TikTok shops. So guys, if you're a brand owner, if you're on Shopify or Amazon and you're not on TikTok shops, there's just no reason for you not to get over there. You don't necessarily have to spend 20,000 of your inventory per se, but if you happen to do that and some of your videos pop off and maybe a celebrity kicks in, you could be doing a couple $100,000 a month too. And 80% of it could be organic. So just think about those numbers when you think about your time, energy, attention, and money. And I thank you so much for coming on in and showing some of this, sharing some information and stuff with us today, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed the conversation.